3 years ago, almost to the day, I stood on this very spot and introduced you to the third generation Bailey Unicorn. And now we're back 3 years on with this, the Bailey Unicorn 4. It's even the same model, the Cadiz, which is the best seller with its fixed twin single beds. And it feels very familiar. We've got pretty much the same profile. There are some new details such as these rather swish graphics, the squared edge dark tinted windows and these rather smart new alloy wheels. But otherwise it's pretty much business as usual. We've got a 230 volt socket and an aerial point there, and to my right an external locker and a gas barbecue point. But then of course it wasn't the sidewalls that needed to change. The main issue was towards the front of the van. So let's have a look and see if they've addressed that. Well, praise be, they have. Amazingly, the profile is actually the same underneath this moulding, a result of the Alutech design, which means a pretty bluff fronted van. However, the addition of these full height bumper mouldings really has blended it in and given it a much more modern look. There's still that fantastic full height window, but the arrival of these panels, which look like windows but are actually only decorative, really pull the design together, make it feel much more coherent. That's also aided by the black hitch cover, which gives a balance to the design. If we go round to the other side of the van, there are a few more changes to look at here as well. There's still a side gas locker, but the design has been revised to give it a more compact shape, which we'll find out later has made a few changes inside the van. And instead of just the one external locker at the back here, we've got two. Now why is that, you ask? Well, let's open it up. This one here is just a standard locker. This one is a little bit more interesting because inside you'll find the toilet cassette. Now on the previous generation Cadiz, that was at the back. So fingers crossed, does that mean the back design is a bit better too? Well, yes it is. There's a new full width grab handle which should help you to maneuver the van onto your pitch, and once again a brand new bumper moulding which makes the van look a lot fresher and a lot younger. There are some pretty fundamental changes inside the van too, and not all of them positive, so let's start with the negative. The front shelf has gone. That fantastic deep full width shelf, which was a real USP of Bailey, and it was a really great place to put stuff while you were on tour, be it books or drinks or perhaps bottles of drinks. Instead, Bailey has used that space to make the sofas longer. They now tuck right up into the front corner of the van. Up to 5% apparently, which doesn't sound like a massive amount to me, but it actually means that it frees up more space for the living area of the van, as we'll come to in a bit. These new sofas look pretty inviting as well, don't they? These deep backrests with big squishy cushions look fantastic to lounge on. I'll reserve judgment, however, for how comfortable they are when made up into a double bed, because the feel of the different cushions might end up creating a bit of a lumpen feel for the bed. We'll wait till we've had a sleepover in the van to make our judgment call. Now, at the front here, the other change we've got is up top. Those of you who are familiar with the Bailey Unicorn 3 will remember that there were open shelves here on both sides, but Bailey's taken a leaf out of Luna's book and put in these rather fine little corner cabinets. They're surprisingly roomy actually, and there's space inside as well for your stereo. Looking at the head unit, it's good to see that it's both got Bluetooth connectivity and a DAB radio. Great stuff, and I think, someone will correct me, I'm sure, but that's a first for this market. There's another fantastic detail just underneath those cupboards. We've still got 4 spotlights, one in each corner, but now they've got USB points in them, so you can use lights and charge your devices at the same time. Bailey's even thought to put these little suede pockets in the corners so you can hook your phone or your tablet or your iPod in there while it's charging up. At the very front, well, we've still got a central chest, and it is a really good size. It's large enough to put your TV on if you want to, but actually the most sensible place to put your telly is on the new sideboard, which is a first for the Cadiz, right by the door with all the connection points that you need, and ideal for you to sit back in these new corner seats and relax and watch telly. Beside that little side unit, well, we've got the same tower refrigerator as in the Unicorn 3. What isn't the same, however, is this fantastic kitchen, which is inspired by Bailey's Autograph motorhome range. It really does look very classy indeed, and really quite a step above the last generation Unicorn. We've got an illuminated splashback there, a couple of sockets, and above them the controller for the Aldi wet central heating. There's the de rigueur pop-up flap should you need more worktop space, but it's highly unlikely that you will, because for this generation Unicorn, Bailey has listened to its customers who said what they really wanted was a proper lid over the cooker like you used to get in caravans of old, and I must say it does make the whole space look much more integrated. Underneath, well, there's the usual dual fuel 4-burner hob with an electric hot plate and 3 gas rings, and of course a separate oven and grill. Much more interesting, however, is this. Instead of the old round sink, there's a new square one, again from the motorhome range, and it's got this rather neat little combination of a chopping board and a drainer that fits perfectly on the worktop there. Underneath there are 3 really large drawers with soft close action, very nicely done there. And to this end there's a little wine bottle cabinet. Now that's happened because, like the Pegasus, the Unicorn has had its cooker moved across by 14 centimetres, which leaves space for your panhandles and of course for your booze. Now up high there's a microwave, and alongside it this fantastic huge overhead locker, although don't do what I do and just yank the handle, because you've got to remember to undo the positive lock. I do like positive locking, but not when there's a chance I might rip it off because I've forgotten it's there. It's a shame it wasn't a bit closer to the handle. So now I've stepped back into the master bedroom, and guess what? More changes. The eagle-eyed among you might have noticed that the wood tones have changed in the Unicorn. It's now called eucalyptus, and it's a bit darker than the old model. But it really doesn't make things feel dingy, and that's mainly thanks to these rather nice gloss white locker doors, which are used throughout the van. It really bounces the light around and makes it feel lovely and bright. It's also helped by the lighting options. We've got this halo lighting over the cupboards, and there's also under cupboard lighting. It really is very classy and makes the van feel a lot posher than the old model. Another big change is the beds. That tweak to the front of the van, moving the whole lounge forwards, means that the fixed beds are being made longer. In the old model, one was 6'3" and the other 5'10", so you had to be sure to pick yourself a short partner. Now they're both 6'2" long, which is a really good size. We've got shelves on either side and a reading light with another of those USB charging points. And overhead, some big lockers. Underneath, there's plenty of storage space, although the one on the near side here also contains the storage for the lounge table. It's actually a much more sensible place than in the bathroom wardrobe. Now, talking of the bathroom, you wait till you see it. The layout is broadly similar to before in here, but the feel is completely different. Gone is the argument over whether a clear or frosted window is better, because there's now just a huge mirror, which expands the feeling of space. The cistern for the electric flush loo is completely concealed, which adds a classy finish. And there's a bowl sink with a pop-up plug. Beneath, a neat laundry basket is integrated where the cabinet once sat. The shower cubicle is still huge, but now features a stone effect liner for a classier feel. And there's a wire basket for all your lotions and potions, plus a hanging rail above. The door is now a bifold unit, because customer focus groups complained that the big single pane door was quite hard to get around. So there you have it, the Bailey Unicorn 4. Now Bailey tells us that the only item on the options list for this van is alternative upholstery, so in many ways it picks up where the old model left off. Fantastic specification and superb value for money. But where the Unicorn 3 let itself down was that it never really felt like a flagship van, always a bit too close to the lowlier models in the range. The Unicorn 4 not only looks a whole lot better, but it also feels much more special, which gives you a reason to pick it over pricier rivals that's about more than just value.